When you talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame, you're talking about the best baseball players of all time. The best of the best. Of the nearly 20,000 men who have played Major League Baseball, only 235 are enshrined in Cooperstown as a player. That means if you're lucky and talented enough to play Major League Baseball, you have about a 1% chance of getting elected into the Hall of Fame. The most exclusive positional group in the Hall of Fame is the third baseman, which has only 14 former Major Leaguers and 3 Negro Leaguers. That group is going to likely grow in the near future when Adrian Beltre gets inducted, and possibly if Alex Rodriguez gets inducted, depending on the way the writers vote. But the club should have grown to an even 20 with another third baseman from New York and David Wright, who was on the fast track to Cooperstown until a string of injuries robbed him of a plaque in upstate New York. David Wright might be one of the most beloved players to ever don the Mets uniform, but the reason he's a Met is due to one of the most controversial Mets of all time. After the 1999 Major League Baseball season, the Mets released an aging Bobby Bonilla, but still owed him about $6 million. The two sides eventually agreed on a deferred payment option, which would see Bonilla get a little over $1 million every July 1st until 2035, something that Mets fans still rue to this day. The savings allowed the Mets to trade for Mike Hampton, who was in the final year of his contract. When they failed to sign Hampton after the 2000 season, the Mets were awarded a compensation pick for the 2001 draft, and with the 38th overall pick, they selected David Wright. So, while the Bobby Bonilla contract may annoy a lot of Mets fans, it did land them David Wright. He quickly rose through the Mets minor league system and made his major league debut on July 21, 2004. From that date on, he would be a permanent fixture in the Mets lineup. Not only would he go on to be loved by Mets fans, but also baseball fans across the country. His heroics in the 2013 World Baseball Classic earned him the nickname Captain America, and he was named the face of baseball just before the 2014 season. He would go on to establish himself as one of the best hitters in the league, known for his rare ability to combine hitting for power, average, as well as his speed, a trait that is not normally possessed by a third baseman. Despite the Mets underperforming, Wright kept putting up ridiculous numbers that not only made him one of the best players in the league, but compared to some of the best at his position in the game's history. He had played his first 6 full seasons practically injury-free, playing 144 more games in each one of those seasons. He hit at least 36 doubles and stole at least 15 bases in each of those 6 full seasons, hit at least 26 home runs, drove in at least 102 runs, and hit at least 302 in 5 of those first 6 full seasons. As he wrapped up his age 27 season in 2010, his 7th overall and 6th full season as a big leaguer, Wright looked like he was destined for superstardom. He was entering his prime and playing the best baseball of his career, and was about to take that next step towards establishing his legacy as a ballplayer. Let's take a deeper dive into just how good David Wright was through his age 27 season and compare him with the 6th best third baseman of all time. Eddie Matthews, 500 home run club member and arguably one of the most underrated players in the game's history. Phillies legend and fellow 500 home run club member Mike Schmidt. The human vacuum, Brooks Robinson, probably the finest defensive player in baseball history. 3,000 hit club member and chicken aficionado Wade Boggs. Another 3,000 hit club member and Pine Tar fan George Brett. And Braves legend and arguably the best switch hitter the game has ever seen, Chipper Jones. These 6 legends are the best the hot corner has ever seen. Let's compare these legends alongside Wright through their age 27 season and some of the more traditional batting stats. Wright ranks 3rd among the groups in hits, 2nd in runs scored, 1st in doubles, tied for 2nd in home runs, 2nd in RBI, 1st in stolen bases, 3rd in both average, OBP, slugging, OPS, and total bases. His 32.2 B-WAR ranks him 4th among the group, mainly due to the fact that he was an average defender. Wright was on a torrid pace to start his career. Assuming that he stayed healthy and played at least 20 full seasons maintaining this pace, he was on pace to reach the 3,000 hit, 500 home run, and 500 double plateaus, and he would have joined Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Eddie Murray, Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, and Rafael Palmeiro as the only members of that club. Yeah, he was that good early in his career. Wright was putting up solid season after solid season, and it looked like the sky was the limit for him. He was about to make the leap from great player to superstar, and was on the path to joining the legends of the hot corner in Cooperstown. In his age 28 season in 2011, he was off to a slower start than usual. On May 15, 2011, he tried to tag out Carlos Lee while he was advancing to third base.
Even past Mike Scott. Chris Johnson to the right side. Justin Turner runs it down. His one-hop throw, though, goes past Reyes. Nobody's covering third base, so Lee's trying to get there. Wright racing him, and he tags him out. David Wright outruns Carlos Lee, who is hurt after making that dive into third base. And that's the second out of the inning. So Lee seeing third base unoccupied, trying to get there before David Wright, but he just didn't have the wheels to do it.
Well, good aggressive base running. I think he's going to be okay. Probably just a little bruise on his elbow. But nice play by Turner here, and not a good throw to Reyes. And heads up by Davis to be backing. For David to be backing up, and makes the nice play here. I mean, look, watch David. He kind of sees, and then he makes the move to get the ball. And if you have any kind of a runner going to third, besides Lee, they're going to be safe.
How about the hustle and dive that David took to apply the tag? Watch his head.
Wow.
While it looks like nothing more than a hustle play, Wright will get an x-ray and discover that he had a stress fracture in his lower back, which would keep him out for about 2 months. He would come back to play 63 games and slash .272, .349, .440, with 8 home runs and 43 ribbies, and it looked like his injury was just a small setback. Wright's first major time on the DL in his career. Back-to-back All-Star campaigns in 2012 and 2013 made people long forget about his lingering back issue, but a declining and disappointing performance in 2014 raised some further questions to Wright's health. In early 2015, a strained hamstring sidelined Wright even further, landing him on the 15-day DL, but the big blow was when he was diagnosed with spinal stenosis shortly after, which landed him on the 60-day DL. Spinal stenosis is a condition in which the spinal cord is abnormally narrow, which causes more stress and pressure on the spine and the nerves that surround it, causing excruciating pain and numbness in the legs. This condition is normally seen in older people, not an elite athlete in their early 30s. He would return in August of 2015 and play throughout the Mets' magical run to the World Series that same year, but those would be the last meaningful games he would play in. Neck surgery and his spinal stenosis limited him to just 37 games in 2016, and he missed the entire 2017 season entirely. Wright had tried to rehab, but he'd realized that his playing days were all but over. His spinal condition made playing almost impossible for him, all caused from a tag attempt during the prime of his career. He would return at the end of the 2018 season, playing in the final 2 Mets home games and receiving an emotional goodbye from the Mets faithful.
A handshake with Mike Winters, the crew chief. A salute to the fans. And the captain is heading off for one final time.
David Wright had the talent and ability to be one of the best third basemen the game has ever seen. One small injury on an effort play in the prime of his career would lead to a lifetime of injuries and pain, pushing one of the most vibrant stars of baseball out of the game well before he wanted to leave. While he will always be remembered and revered in Queens, Wright will never get that plaque in Cooperstown that he was on pace to achieve.